No problem. Good morning. Nice to speak to you again, Eddie.
Good morning. You too.
I think, Eddie, just standard procedure as always. Could we just get a fitness update and just how the injuries are of his teams and where the boys are at this moment?
So who have we got? We've got Adam Smith will miss the Leicester game for sure with the injury that he suffered last night. I'm struggling. Who else we got? Mine's gone blank. We've got a few bumps and bruises from the game, obviously. David Brooks came off. We think that was just cramp, but we'll wait and see today to find out more. Steve Cook's had a hamstring problem. That's still not 100%, even though he was on the bench yesterday. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it at the moment.
I ask you at this stage of the season, having to do that much rotation, do you feel like it will affect momentum at all?
Well, we'll see. We'll have a look at the squad and we'll analyse individually how everyone's feeling, look at their history, whether they're able to go again. What the key thing is, I think, is that everyone's able to give what the team needs. And I think if you looked at yesterday's physical performance, everyone was at their maximum. Everyone gave everything for the cause. We're going to need people to be able to do that again. And if they're not, then I'll have to play someone else. And
as you say, because of the fixture congestion, do you feel like you will have to rotate quite profoundly because of the fact that there's so many games in such a short period of time and you're asking such a maximum amount of effort from the boys every time?
Yeah, possibly. Let's see. I think the most important thing is that, as I said, everyone's able to give their best, but we know the magnitude of the game, so we want to pick, obviously, a team that can win the game.
I ask you as well about some of the wide issues. Now you've had a chance to sleep on it, probably had a chance to look at it again, the VAR and how sort of, let's say, impactful it's been, especially to your team over the last few games. I ask you, do you now look at it very differently, or do you now look at the same? How do you, especially the way they impacted last night's game?
What, VAR itself, how I look at VAR?
Yeah,
I think it depends on the situation, doesn't it? I think didn't look at it too fondly with Callum's overhead kick because the referee had obviously given the goal. So those moments are difficult to take, with the emotion of that goal, and you could see what it meant to the players at the time. That's obviously difficult. But I actually thought the players responded really well in that moment for the rest of the game. And of course, you've got the penalty decision that sort of goes in our favour with Harry Kane. That could have been different. So, yeah, I think it's one of those things you just want. You want to try and get the right decisions in the game as much as we can.
I think after speaking to you last night, I think the most profound thing I took from it was the increase of confidence that you're going to try and give to the boys. Now you kind of face Leicester. How do you look to develop that? I know it's only such a short turnaround, but how do you look to develop that going into this game?
Well, I think we have to feed off every positive fibre of that performance yesterday. As I said afterwards, with the physical effort, the heart endeavour showed, the quality we showed at times as well. So I think there was that will give the players a huge lift, no doubt. But we know the good performances in itself, even if it is an upturn on recent weeks, isn't going to be enough. We're going to need results. So yes, we want another good performance, but we want to turn those, that building of momentum into goals and obviously into wins.
Thank you so much, Eddie, man. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jody. Paul Belveston, PLP.
Morning, Eddie. Well played last night. Was it instantly obvious when you looked around the dressing room after the game that belief and confidence had come back, or was it, did you have to sort of drum some positives in straight away with tired bodies and natural disappointment that goal had been ruled out?
Yeah, I think highlighting the positives was very important after the game yesterday, because I was really, really proud of the players, pleased with the players. A lot's been chucked at us. A lot of questions have been asked. And the only place you can respond, I keep saying it, but is on the pitch. And I felt we did in the right way. And we didn't get the result we wanted, and the players were hurting from the fact that we didn't win. And especially with as I said, the emotion of the goal, and then it wasn't a goal. And yeah, that's not easy to take. And we had Harry Wilson's late chance as well. So it was a feeling that the game was there to win and we hadn't. So I think there was a bit of disappointment in there as well. So it was important that I think I highlighted how well I thought we'd done.
for Spurs having so many attacking and flair players on the pitch not to have a shot on target, for you to keep a clean sheet? How big a positive, how much belief do you hope that will instill?
Yeah, I mean, I think attacking and defending are all linked to confidence. You have to believe that you're good enough to keep clean sheets. We haven't kept enough of them this season. I think that was a huge step in the right direction. As you say, it wasn't just the fact we did it, it's the way we did it. We limited some of the best attacking players in the country to minimal goalmouth action. It proves to me and to the team that we can be resolute to absorb pressure, because Tottenham did have quite a bit of the ball as well. So it wasn't as if we were the team dominant in possession. So I think that's a really positive sign.
I asked you about spirit a couple of days ago. That character and spirit in the squad has been questioned, like you said. Apparently, Adam Smith was passed out 1 minute. The next minute, he was desperate to play again, was urging people to let him play again. I know there are much wider health issues at play here, so he couldn't play again. But as far as character, that sort of commitment, what does that say, that there is that through the squad?
Yeah, I wasn't fully aware of that, to be honest, Paul. So you enlightened me there. But it doesn't surprise me with Adam if that was the case, because that's him. He's got a huge heart. I thought he actually played very, very well in the game yesterday. And yeah, he's a 100% all-out player, and we're going to need those type of attitudes in our last few games.
And I know history doesn't necessarily mean anything, but as far as the next opponent, especially when famously you have got this run in where most of your opposition is in the very top of the division, your record against Leicester at home is very good, isn't it? What's been the key in those games previously?
I think we've played well. I'm thinking back. We've had a lot of tight games against Leicester, a lot of draws throughout our time together. I think, yeah, our home results against them have been pretty good. I think we won our last one here last year. That was a good performance. But I think with any win in the Premier League, it's about getting every unit in the team functioning well. And I think without that, you don't win games. So I think that's going to be my message again to the players, that we're going to need to function as we did well against Tottenham. We're going to need to back that up with another performance.
What have you made of Leicester since the restart?
Well, I think since the restart, I prefer to look at them throughout the season, really. I think they've been exceptional. I think you look at a very good football team, very well coached, very fluid, great attacking players behind Jamie Vardy. They create well, and he's been devastating in his form this year.
Thanks, Eddie. Very best of luck, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Ian Abrahams from TalkSport.
Morning, Eddie. How are you?
Morning. Yeah, good news. Thanks.
You play last over the whole weekend on Sunday. Everyone else goes before you. So do you watch their results come in, or do you go for a walk along one of those beautiful Bournemouth beaches?
Well, I think throughout this period, there's been so many games on that I've been watching. I've been watching the games from a coaching perspective and a scouting perspective, because usually we'll have an opponent coming up that you need to see. So I've been watching a lot of football. In terms of the games that you don't have an opponent coming up that you don't need to watch, that's a difficult one. I don't sit there willing results. I don't think that's healthy, and I don't think that's productive. So might go for a walk along the beach, Moose. Do you want to join me?
I'll definitely come down and join you. Players are physically tired. I mean, has this been mentally tiring for the coaching staff this period?
No, I don't. I think you get used to it. I think there's no problem. You're preparing for games. You're watching games. You're analysing everything. It's slightly unusual because in the Premier League, usually you do have the gaps between games that we haven't had. But it's almost going back to our Championship days where we were playing every 3 days. That's something that's not foreign to us.
Will that be a benefit to you, the fact that you've got 4 games left now and they're in such a short period of time, but you're used to playing those sort of games every 3 or 4 days?
I don't know whether it's an advantage to us or not. I think it's just something we're prepared for. We know what we've got to do, and we're looking forward to the challenge that we face.
You mentioned Callum's goal last night. I mean, it flicks off the arm of Josh King. It's not intentional. We've gone on about VAR this season, and the handball rule as well. I mean, in days gone by, that would have counted, and you must be lamenting the fact that David Ellery changed the handball rule.
Well, I am this morning, Moose, 100%. It's one of those things. It's been. I'm just trying to think back. Has there been any other controversial moments? I think it's been pretty consistent. That I think it was the West Ham one that actually did hit the hand and the goal was given, if I'm right. The own goal recently. But apart from that, I think it's been pretty consistent, and I think that's all you want. So I can't sit here and moan about it. You just accept the rule, and you have to accept the decision.
And finally, I mean, obviously your players come back in today for a warm down or what have you. You assess the walking wounded. In terms of your message to them, it's an upbeat one today, which you haven't maybe been able to produce too many times in the past few weeks. That must bring a smile to your face, and it is right now. I can see that.
Half a smile, because it wasn't the win we wanted. But it's it's a more positive feeling this morning than it has been in recent weeks. So we'll take that. We have to. But we're going to probably need a bigger smile on Sunday.
Good luck, Eddie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Moose. Phil Blanche from PA.
Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning.
Just one thing, really. Jose Mourinho said after the game that he'd never seen Bournemouth play that way before, sort of played through midfield and perhaps a little bit more direct. Is that like a conscious decision, or sort of just the sort of situation you're in, really?
Yeah, I think we're trying to get points. We're trying to stay in the Premier League, and we're doing everything we can to try and achieve that goal. So have we radically changed how we play? No. Are we making tweaks? I've always said, are we making tweaks to things? Yes, to try and improve what we deliver. We were trying to win the game, so I've read a couple of comments that we set up defensively. No, in my opinion, we didn't. We were trying to win the game as best we can. So, yeah, that's my response to that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, that's the end of the broadcast section. We'll move on to the embargo